2 days ago, you'll remember that we started the show by asking you what you miss about working from work. The Star today has a really cool piece. It actually touches on some of the themes we discussed. And they say that a survey reveals that 86% of workers want to return to the office. Giant Leap did a survey. It is one of South Africa's largest workplace consultancies. So they did a nationwide survey that involved canvassing the opinions of several hundreds of people through level 4 of the lockdown. And the results were very interesting. They said that 86% of people want to go back to working at the office. And there are a number of reasons. People often reported feeling isolated. They were experiencing difficulties in carrying out team tasks. Many missed co-workers. The survey showed that 70% of people missed the general social interactions of the office, while 85% said they missed the colleague interaction and working that's quite lacking while working at home. And 81% felt that working remotely made work communication harder. And then another 70% reported that they were more sedentary working at home. Yeah, harder to get your 10,000 steps in, right? Working from home. But what we were reflecting on that day was that one of the challenges, or one of the things that certain markets and workers have said they miss about the workplace is the office chair, right? Because we just end up getting into such bad postures working from home because we use what there is, the kitchen table, the dining table, you're sitting on the couch, you're working in bed. Perhaps remember Karle, whose call we took that day as well. She was working in bed and wasn't happy to be back at work. But listening to that conversation that day is our first guest, John Karle. He's the director of Karle, and they're a furniture manufacturer. We'll talk to him in a short while because he listened with great amusement to that conversation about the office chair being missed and questions of ergonomics. What is ergonomically correct for you is what they focus on. So he'll be coming up and we'll take your calls, how to make sure you're in the right posture, in the right position while working from home. I know I'm taking strain. I think that was also a very selfish conversation because it reflected my own frustrations, taking lots of strain, starting to feel that slouch, that strain in the curve of the spine, and of course just the top of the neck, leaning forward the whole time to see what it is that you're doing on your computer. Maybe you have your own questions. 011-883-0702.
702, radio that listens to you.
It's 15 minutes past 1. The line's always open to you on 011-883-0702, 31702 for your SMSs. Voice notes and WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. So instead of working at your dining table in the wrong posture or in bed, you have to listen to the steps that my guest John Karle has on what you can do to improve your posture wherever it is you're working from within your home. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Azania, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for getting in touch. I enjoyed reading your email. As you're saying, you were listening in during that open line that we had in the 1 o'clock hour 2 days ago. And when we were just looking at what people are missing about working from work, you actually had done a video, in fact, that we'll share the link to for our listeners, where you demonstrate that it is possible to achieve the right kind of position while working from home, regardless of your setting and your context. There are things we can do. It's a 7-minute long video, and really I thought I wanted to knock my head and say, duh, this is what I should have been trying all along.
Yeah.
So what are the wrong postures that or the wrong things we tend to do with working from home as far as our posture is concerned?
Well, I think the first thing we do is we get issued with a laptop. And a laptop is this mobile device that you can take anywhere and sit anywhere. And all we do is we go and we take it to the couch and we start working on a laptop. We need to look at our own posture first before we actually start working. So how this video actually came about was I was thinking about the teachers all going home to work. And what they were actually were they actually set up correctly. And then I thought, normally in a house you've got a table, and you've got a chair. So if you use those two together, with a few added items, you can actually set yourself up correctly.
Yes. So you said pick a hard surface. It can be the kitchen counter. It can be the dining table. Just pick a hard surface, and then, as you said, with a few other pieces, make it work with the chair. So what can wrong posture lead to? I was saying that I'm starting to feel the strain, I think, on my back particularly.
Correct.
And the top of my neck, because I'm always leaning forward, whether at the dining table or even working from my bed, which I resist as much as possible.
That's exactly. So one of the first things that you'd start feeling is your lower back, from bending forward, slouching. Initially, when one sits, your core can actually will support you, but you normally don't sit for 5 or 10 minutes. You end up sitting for 50 minutes or an hour or longer, and you start slouching. The next thing normally is your shoulders, your shoulder blades, because you're actually tense sitting up, because you're typing on your laptop. So your shoulders are supporting you, and then your neck also, because remember, ideally when you're sitting on a chair, you want to be looking straight forward at your monitor.
Right.
You don't want to be. What you're doing with a laptop is your neck is bent and you're looking down. So again, being in that position over a period of time causes strain and stiffness, and you'll feel it over multiple hours or even less.
Yes, absolutely. So you came up with 5 easy steps that we can look at to get our posture right working from these surfaces at home. Just take us through them.
Okay. Just to let everyone know, it's not purely, this is for whether you're at work also. You can, you might have different things, but you can, it's the same applies. And also just being at home for a month in April, looking at my kids, they had online learning, but they were like Jumba sitting on their chair. So what you need to first do is first have a look at your chair. In fact, the first thing is to get your desk. You need something that's firm and that you can get your legs underneath your desk. The next thing is to pull up your chair, whether it's a dining room chair, something that's also secure, that's not wobbly. And then what you've got to do is to actually place your wrists onto the table. And the angle between your forearm and your upper arm needs to be 90 degrees. And normally desks are different heights or tables. So in my case, I was sitting actually too low. So I needed to put cushions under my bum to actually lift myself up to form that 90-degree angle approximately between your forearm and your upper arm.
The surface, right.
Yeah. What then happens is, because you've lifted yourself up, your legs actually start dangling in the air. So if you haven't got support, you're going to start moving around and you're going to start feeling uncomfortable. We need to support our feet. Just like when we sit in a motor vehicle, we have a perch on the edge of a motor vehicle seat and drive. We always feel like we're pushed back into the seat. That's exactly what you're going to feel like when you're sitting on your chair, any chair. You must use the backrest. You mustn't be sitting on the front of the seat. So once you secure and at your desk, then and you.
But how do we stop our feet from dangling? How do we stop? We don't. If we have a footstool, I imagine that's great. But if we don't,
get your thickest book that you can find. Get multiple books. Get a old shoebox. Anything that you can rest your feet on, even if it's a bit higher, it doesn't matter. It gives you that foundation, if I can call it. to actually
But avoid
sit
dangling
on.
feet.
Correct. And it pushes you into the back of your chair, so you're now using your backrest.
Right.
If you're using a dining room chair, you'll also find your backrest might be like these wooden slats or something, and it's uncomfortable. And get a cushion and put it between the backrest and your back, so that you push into it, and you can straight away you'll feel that it takes up the support in your lower back. It supports your lower back. So now you're comfortable sitting on your chair. Now you have your laptop in front of you, and what we need to do then is we don't want to be looking down, because again that's going to put strain on your neck. So we want to lift your laptop up. Again, pull out the shoe boxes, the puzzle boxes, the books, anything that can raise your laptop to a level that you're looking directly at the monitor. It's probably either at the top of the monitor or just about a third of the way down. So we're looking directly at it. But now, obviously, you've raised your laptop. Now you can't get to the keyboard, because otherwise...
Yeah, you can't type that way. You said our arms should be at a right angle. Okay.
Correct. Okay. So we can't have the best of all worlds. What one ideally needs then is to get yourself a wireless or a wired separate keyboard, that you can put your keyboard on the table in front of you. And when I say in front of you, right on the edge, the front edge of the desk, so that what this does now is that we're not leaning towards the keyboard. So we're still in contact with with the chair's backrest, and the keyboard is on the edge. And now, because our wrists are lying on the table, you've got access to your keyboard. So
and our eye line is at the right place with the monitor. We're looking at the monitor correctly.
Exactly. We're not looking down.
Right.
One thing I just needed to mention was that your monitor normally needs to be about an arm's length away.
Okay.
Depending on your
That
eyesight.
far?
It is far, but that's more or less. If you can't see it, obviously bring it towards you, because you don't want to be, once again, leaning forward to have a look at the monitor. The idea being, in your whole workstation setup, is bring the things towards you. You mustn't be stretching to them. They've got to be with you. Your mouse must be right next to your keyboard, right on the edge of the table. So you're not leaning for it. You're not stretching for it.
As well, yes.
What about from your? Okay.
What about standing desks? They're also very popular. And are good. We do live a very sedentary life, and we can assume the very bad posture from sitting. And standing is also advised that you stand frequently. And some people actually prefer working while standing. So how do we set that up? Is it pretty much the same thing about the difference is how much to elevate?
Exactly. So what we advocate and what I've tried from personal experience is that after about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you'll know the feeling of getting a numb bum, and your posture, you start leaning to one side of that. So stand up after 45 minutes, move around, and you can do exactly the same setup with, but standing, in terms of raising your monitor up to a level that when you stand, you're looking directly in front of the monitor, and then raise up the keyboard, again with books and shoe boxes, so that you can stand and work. The one thing with sit-stand or with standing for long periods of time, and it's the same with sitting, is that a lot of us, our legs aren't exactly the same length. So we're going to start standing on one leg and moving around, and it's all to do with our core, that we're not strong enough to be standing in one position. So ideally what you want to be doing is to be sitting and then standing, and then sitting and standing.
Okay.
And what standing actually does is, obviously, standing up promotes blood flow, opens up your diaphragm so you can breathe better, more oxygen to the brain, and which means ultimately you can you can work for longer and you're just more in the zone, I'd say.
I see your question came in about how do you maintain posture if the chair you're sitting in doesn't have a backrest? You know, some people have maybe bar stools by the kitchen island, or maybe they have benches by the dining table, so the chair doesn't have a backrest. Do you have a solution around that? Because I know I was looking at what you do as Karle. You don't just supply office furniture, but it's all about providing solutions so that you make people comfortable in front of their workstations, whatever it is they may be doing, whether they're artisans or whether they're doing office work.
Correct.
So how do you solve for that when there isn't a backrest?
Okay, so if you don't, all right, so if you're at home and you're using your bar stool, I would suggest then taking more frequent breaks in terms of not working for a period of 40 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, just because your core is you're gonna get tired quicker, not having that little bit of support from the backrest. I mean, just thinking out of the box now, you could also, if you could move your chair up against the wall, then perhaps put a pillow or something between you and the wall, that you could sit on that. I mean, we brought in what we call our Wellback chair, which is our kneeling chair. And
yes, those are fantastic.
Yeah, correct. So there you don't need a backrest. So
but your knees are slightly lower and give you that support. It forces you, in fact, to have a straight back and be upright.
Correct. So that whole, the way you sit in there is the way you'd sit on a horse. When you ride a horse, you don't need a backrest, because as soon as you open up your pelvis between your thigh and your upper body, which is kind of the way which is like when we walk in, but to a lesser extent, then your core supports you. So yes, that's an alternative, I suppose.
Yes, that's an alternative. Thank you so much, John. We can use all sorts of items. I've since elevated the microphone where we are because I found the table was too low. It's absolutely correct for my forearm. My forearm is at a right angle, along the table. But the mic was way too low. So now I've got it at least right in front of me. I used a stack of paper to just elevate it, and it certainly feels much, much better.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yes, go ahead, John. No, go ahead.
No, one last thing I wanted to say is, obviously with your dining room chair, you do not have armrests. But if you're talking about your ergonomic office chair and that, actually have a look what it does. You'll see 9 times out of 10 that the arms are actually adjustable. So you want the armrest in line with your desk, the top of the desk, because then you're going to actually rest your elbows on top of the desk. And that then also relieves the stress in your shoulders. Also have a look at the mechanism that is on the chair. Look underneath the chair. There are a number of levers there. Pull them, push them, twist them. That you'll see that your chair actually goes up and down to get the correct height. And you'll also you'll see that it reclines, that it goes backwards and forwards.
Right.
And the more movement you have while sitting, to a certain extent, just increases the blood flow and better breathing, and just improves productivity overall and personal well-being, your personal health.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. You start to feel the stress when you're in that wrong position, physically, before it manifests in any other way. You start to feel your body under that kind of stress from being in the wrong posture. John, thank you very much. We do have to take headlines. That is John Karle, is the director at Karle. They are a furniture manufacturer, and also they are focused on providing solutions so that you're comfortable at your workstation and whatever that may be. So use the books that are just collecting dust sitting on that bookshelf. You know, you read them years ago. It's time to put them to good use. Stack them up to lift your laptop. Get towels, cushions to boost yourself up so that you're in the right position in that chair. And then also you can create a little footrest, a lovely little footrest, so that your feet are not dangling from the floor. I've been introducing these little measures since getting John's email on like 2 days ago, and watching that video certainly feels better.